I would like to invite up a fellow friend and comrade from Stand Up to Racism, Sue.
Hi everybody. So much respect to the people that have shared their stories today. We are living in a world today, unfortunately, where violence against women and girls and young men is actually growing all the time internationally. In this country, we have a far-right party in Parliament now, who actually are aiming to be the next government, and that may very well happen. Why is it important? Why is it important that we don't allow this to happen? Why is it important that we actually stand up to the people on the far right? We need to look at what it is that they're actually pushing forward. They're pushing disunity. They're trying to set us against each other. They're trying to set black against white. They're trying to set asylum seekers against people who've been settled here for a while. They're trying to set women against men, black against white, gay against straight, trans against everybody. And we can't allow that to happen. If we do allow that to happen, things will get worse and worse for us. Because society, in as much as it's disintegrating, is doing that from the top down, not from the bottom up. Sometimes we can look around and we can think it's working class men that are attacking women. It's working class people that are doing this, that are racist. It's working class, but it comes from the top. A fish rots from the head. And it's coming from the top. And why? Why do they want us divided? Because the majority of us here are people who go to work, or are still at school or college, and we create the wealth that keeps those in power in power. And yet we have no say in what happens to that, because we're divided, because we don't see our own power. If we challenge the far right, and we actually think, hang on a minute, what sort of world do we want to live in? Do we want to live in a world where we're fighting each other? Or do we want to live in a world where actually we, the people that create all the wealth, are united, and those at the top we see as our enemies, because they are the people that are destroying our planet, that are setting us against each other, that are inciting racism, that are inciting misogyny, that are inciting hatred. So we can't play by their rules. We have to say no to division. Those of us that are fighting for the rights of women also have to fight against racism. We also have to fight against what is going on in Gaza, the genocide there. Intersectionality actually means just that, doesn't it? It actually means that we look at all our fights, and rather than sitting and standing in isolation, we join together and we look at where we have common ground and we fight together. And I just wanted to mention a little bit of propaganda, really, about the organisation I'm part of. I'm part of Stand Up to Racism, and a little while ago, in response to the far-right protests outside the hotels and the so-called riots, the pogroms, after the Southampton attacks, the far-right were saying that they weren't against all immigrants, they weren't against, they weren't racist. What they were trying to do was they were trying to protect women and children from people coming across on small boats, fighting aged men. And they were racialising attacks on women. Now we know, actually, there have been one or two attacks on women by asylum seekers, but how many attacks on women have there been by people who are not asylum seekers, that do not get covered in the news? The far right themselves, we need to look a little bit about their history. After the Southport riots and all the pogroms outside the hotels, the people that were actually arrested, 41%, think about that for a minute, 41% were already known to the police because they had been reported for domestic violence. 41%. These are the people that are supposedly protecting women and children. The EDL, Tommy Robinson's ex-organisation, if you actually look at the list of members there who have been prosecuted for child sexual offences and offences against women, it's huge. You don't hear about that. So we need to be looking at them, and we need to be saying back to them, no, you do not protect us, we protect ourselves, and what's more, we fight back against you. I have been on protests at Long Eaton and outside various other hotels where these men who say they are protecting women and children have been shouting sexist abuse at me, have been threatening sexual violence against me once I've come off that protest. So we just say to them, I don't think so. We will fight. We will fight your racism. We will fight your misogyny. We have set up an organisation called Women Against the Far Right, which is part of Stand Up to Racism, to be at the forefront of any demonstrations against the far right. You know, we are going to fight them. They are not going to so-called protect us. So I'd just like to tell everybody about an initiative that's come out, which is much, much wider than Stand Up to Racism. It's now got a whole load of celebrities and about 80 civil societies and so many trade unions involved, and it's called Together. The Together Alliance, and we've called a huge, what we hope will be, a huge demonstration in London on the 28th of March, and it's just for what it says on here. It's for love, it's for unity, it's for hope. It's for all of us joining together and saying to those who would like to destroy our unity that you're not going to do it. You may be able to put 100,000 people on the streets of London on the 13th of September, shouting hatred, being disgusting, shouting hatred against women, you know, racism, etc. But we will put many, many more on the streets of the capital on the 28th of March, and we will be saying no to all your disunity and yes to unity, love and hope, and no to misogyny, no to racism. So please do put that date in your diary, and let's have a lot more, you know, gatherings like this to actually say to people, we are women, we are nobody's victims, we are the people that are going to be at the forefront of every fight against injustice and disunity, and we will do it now, and we will do it loudly, and we will do it proudly. So thank you all very much.